perspectives. Only the strong survive. We made the final round. Now we try to stay alive. Manga Monday, heading to outer space. Manga Monday, together all the worlds will face. Manga Monday, fight to live and live to fight. Manga Monday, never stop till we get it right.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Weird Science Manga Monday show. I am here with my man, Luke Hollywood. What up, Luke?
What up, Jim?
And we're here to do something a little bit different. We did the Deadpool manga before, and one of the things that I never... I don't know if I brought up to you the idea that we should do the Spider-Man Fake Red at one point as well. That just came out, the trade, I think last month, and it's really good. But this is something a little different. A chapter that came out. I didn't know how they were going to release these. DC ended up announcing 3 manga that they were going to translate and bring to the Western deal. It was stuff that already came out in Japan, but the one is the Joker, one Operation Joker, and the other 2, there's another Batman one, and there's a Superman one that's like a Food Wars type deal. And they just kind of announced, and some people were like, this is going to be ridiculous. Oh my goodness. There was kind of a weird reaction to it.
Color the page.
Yeah. So then when it did hit, it hit the app. It actually hit the app, and they seem to be
the DC Infinite app.
And I hope that that's how they're going to do it. And even in the app, they made it so that it will read right to left. They did a good job, I thought, that it popped up. And this is just that first chapter. And I do look forward to maybe getting chapters. But again, I don't know if they're going to plan on, okay, we'll play the whole game, like we'll release a chapter a week. We'll do it a month. Maybe they won't even do anymore. Maybe you just have to buy the trade now. I really don't know what they're going to do with it. But I thought it was a really neat surprise. And I had been telling people that the Joker, one Operation Joker, was the better of the 3, that I thought it was really fun. And then if you are reading DC Comics recently, or right now, we're in Night Terrors with a K, the spookiest time of year right now. And the Joker book in that really seemed like it was like trying to get the vibe. Again, it was in that the Joker died, and the Joker has to kind of have a day job. Here, you do it a little different, but I like this better because it's just funny, and it does play off a lot of things. Yeah, and it plays off a lot. And again, if you're listening to this and you're like, well, I don't really read manga, I want to see what this Joker Batman book is like. There are so many books like the Yakuza Babysit. Like, there's always some sort of
into like the unlikely daddy that he's going to have to learn how to raise the kids. Like that's a burgeoning subgenre that we didn't even know existed, but we usually like them all. They're pretty good,
I mean, you could even go as far as like My Gangster Neighbor.
Neighbor.
Like that stuff. And we like those. Like you said, it is that surprise daddy type thing that they don't know what they're going to do and they're incompetent with it. It's so against what they usually end up doing. I'm telling you, even if you listen to our Manga Monday, even last week with the Yakuza's Bias even plays it up little of that deal. So when you get this and you get the idea of it, it's not that crazy an idea in the manga world, and that's why I thought it was really good.
It seems crazy when you, from a comics perspective, when you bring up, it's the Joker and he's going to raise baby Batman. You think that's wild, but then in manga world, we're kind of used to that a weird bit.
We are, and that's why I liked it, because when we get to it, the funny little twist of what the Joker thinks he has to do just makes complete sense, and it makes sense with the Joker too. Nothing in this book really you don't get a ton in this first chapter, but it's on brand. There's nothing wrong.
Character for him because he's already that crazy. That this crazy situation just seems natural.
It's funny too because while this came out, like I said, on the Infinite app, and I was talking to some people about it, and this one guy said, "Well, why would I read this? What do these Japanese guys know about Batman and the Joker?" I'm like, probably just as much as us. They can read everything. They're watching the same thing, reading the same stuff. There's nothing that's that crazy. It's not like anything's hidden from anybody, but I think it does a good job. But You said there's limited info going into this. Give us that info and we'll jump into it.
Yes, indeed. This is Joker. One Operation Joker. I don't know, like, where the one comes in. Is there going to be two operations? But it's written by Satoshi Miyagawa and art by Keisuke Goto. And now it was originally published in my least favorite magazine, Jim, Morning Magazine. And interestingly enough, it is they do categorize it as the seinen, like the mature genre, which
I think because there's a couple bits of cursing in it a bit.
Yeah,
that must be what it is.
Maybe.
That's a shame, actually. I think that, you don't have to go that far, but they went with it. Seinen it is.
Saying that it is, and maybe I don't know what's going to happen later on in the series. Maybe that's going to allow for some more mature themes from Daddy Joker. We'll have to see. But it was first published in January 7, 2021, and where we're reading it on the DC Infinite app, we can get it from the July 11, 2023. So we just got it a few months late, but it's still great. Oh my goodness, and that's it.
That was for your mature Daddy Joker.
It's mature.
Comment. I don't know what you're talking about. I hope I don't ever know what you're talking about. But when you start out, and one of the things that I end up, because I have a DC Comics podcast with a guy named Eric, if you're not aware of that. So when I try to get him into manga, the things that is going to throw him off is always going to be for everybody at first to right to left. But he's really big on the idea that I don't want to read anything that's not colored because that means it's not really done and things like that. And I always say to him, well, no, it's not quite like when they try to ape that, and they did in some of the DC books. You got that Gotham Future State Gotham book that didn't have, but that didn't really have the same kind of quality inks and art either. Yeah. That actually did look
this art is fully finished, and you can get the full story and you can tell exactly what's going on. You just don't need the colors.
And that's where I think that some people, when you're not into manga, you haven't looked at a lot of manga, but you see the, I hate to say it, lame attempt that some of the Western comic companies try to do. They really, in that, it looks like they just said to send the colorist home for the day and didn't change. It's not like that. So when you get into this, I did send him some of the pages. He never responded.
You think he was reading that?
He didn't respond. I just sent him a screenshot because you end up, because basically you play with a lot of shadows and things like that. But you end up Gotham City, and it works for Gotham because it's always raining.
Dark
and that's what's happening. You start out Gotham City 6 p.m., and the Joker's out of it a bit. He's walking down the street. He's got some bags. You don't know anything of what's happening, right? And he's doing shopping. And so when you get to this, he ends up getting home and he gets his knife out, licks it, which always freaks us out. But the idea of what is he doing? You could have all these ideas.
It's very sinister.
He went to a drugstore. He's got is he making some poison? Is he making the Joker toxin? Oh my God. And he says this whole thing could be a cosmic joke. Played on me with a God with a lousy sense of humor, which is funny, and says, but whatever, I'd never believed in God or justice or crap like that. Well, shall we get started, baby? And you're like, oh my God, he has this knife out. He's going to kill a baby. What is happening? And then he ends up realizing that, all right, well, I got to kind of get in tune with what's happening here. And then you see that what it is he's changing the diaper. And he's like, well, when it comes to raising a brat, I'm not going to put my trust in anybody other. And that seems to be the one Operation Joker. He's just saying this is a one-man operation. I think the translation should have been a little bit different. One Joker operation.
I'm still petitioning for Daddy Joker. I
think you want mature Daddy Joker who might do sus things later. Right? That was your deal. I don't know if that's going to work. I think it should be one Joker operation.
Yeah, Joker 1 operation of the Joker.
Or just
baby.
Operation Joker.
Diaper time.
Right? So he ends up and you see, you think he's going to kill a baby, which the Joker does crazy stuff. But in the meantime, that's not it. He's actually changing the diaper. But
I'm not so sure you should be licking that knife, Jim. Oh, my goodness.
Well, it's like when you have that old man thing where you have to get dollar bills or something. You have to lick your fingers. It's weird. But yeah, he ends up. And so you're thinking, okay, what does this all mean? What is he doing? Who's this baby? And you end up where, again, he doesn't just open up the diapers.
Very dramatic.
Oh my God, he slices and dices them. He's going to end up just slicing himself, but he opens them up. And then you see the first bit of him trying to be kind of responsible. It's like, I better put this knife up above so the kid.
No sharp objects.
The funny thing is, and it's easy to guess, this baby is Bruce Wayne Batman. But the funny play is, Joker's actually like, he's a really good baby. I mean, he sleeps all the time. It's funny that he's like making up for lost time, or even before, the idea that later on he'll never sleep. And
even when you're dead.
Yeah,
or
really,
or
a baby. And he's there, and the Joker's never changed a diaper before. But he's like, oh man, this is a pain. Again, a pain in the ass, he does say. And, why can't this useless little bugger go to the bathroom by himself? It's almost like I thought he was smarter than this. This is ridiculous. I don't know what I'm doing.
The world's greatest detective.
Yeah, and he starts, not potty trained. So then he's like, how did this happen? Like, everything's in a tizzy here. And he remembers that he was being chased by Batman. Very typical Batman Joker scene. Batman gives him a roundhouse kick, choking him out. And then the basic play is, this is not going to stop until one of us is dead. And then Batman's like, I don't want to kill you. And then Joker's like, yeah, whatever. I mean, killing myself, that's bad. Just do it, Batman. Just end this. Just kill me, please. And while they're doing this, they are in a chemical plant again. And it's pretty much right to the scene, with either of them, I guess, not even realizing they're right to where the Joker was pretty much made. And he says, there's a vat of chemicals down there. Just throw me off. I'll look the other way. Nobody will know. Easy. You'll get rid of me. This is it. You can do it. Just one firm punch. You should get this. And then all of it. He says, the moment you do that, the justice you believe in would crumble like a stale cookie. This is the game. You want to kill me, but if you kill me, you're going to end up being just like me, and you're not really what you are if you do kill me. But if you don't, I'm going to kill everybody else. And so you have Batman. And I actually thought at this point Batman was just going to, all right, chuck him in. But what happens is, the Joker's playing this game, and I think in his mind he knows that this is a game. Batman will never kill him. Batman's not going to throw him in, but he starts getting too into it, I guess.
Yeah, he's method acting, but he gets too legit.
Yeah, and you even have Batman say, clown, I'm sick of your babbling, and then you get like the wink, like the brighter the light, the deeper the darkness. So your darkness is supposed to be like in a deep, dark cave, almost like he is like taunting Batman. Excuse me. That he actually knows more about it. That's the thing. A lot of times the Joker knows Batman's identity. He'll never tell anybody, but he knows it. But he mentions the cave, then realizes, oh crap, I'm leaning too far back on this railing, and then falls off. He actually, as he's falling off, he's about to fall. Batman yells, don't. And then Joker grabs onto him to not fall, but accidentally throws him over his shoulder.
Launches the over the shoulder launch. He goes flying and plop straight into that chemicals.
He goes right into the chemicals. And again, you kind of can figure out, it's kind of a shame that you can kind of figure out what does happen, because at this point, you could be playing the idea of him being another Joker. He could just be dead. This is what I said about the Night Terrors, where he's there. So the Joker freaks out, though, and he freaks out in the way that's legit. He's like, what am I going to do? It's like, Batman melded? Oh, my God, what am I doing? And he says, how am I supposed to prove the fragility of justice without you? Don't die, Batman. Without you around, I'd be bored to death. Oh, my God, he's actually really upset and reaches in to grab, because he then sees the cape come up. He grabs the cape and pulls out a baby.
Baby Batman.
And there's just baby Batman crying in the cape. And he's like, what is this? And he's like, Joker isn't figuring out things yet until then the mask is there. And he's like, oh shit, it's Batman. Batman is a baby. He says, no way, that's, hold the phone. Oh my goodness, Batman's a baby. And yeah, he says, Batman's become a baby. What do I do? What do I do? And he has no idea. He's like, I have no idea what I can do. And this is actually a funny part. Because he's like, oh my God, I gotta think. Yeah, I'll just laugh. And he starts laughing, and I'm telling you, this might last 10 minutes.
Sometimes all you can do is laugh.
And then he's laughing, he falls down on the ground, he's laughing still, and then looks, oh yeah, baby. Like he forgot what he was laughing about. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's like Mr. Burns, actually, in The Simpsons. This happens a lot with him, where he ends up laughing and then just forgets what he's laughing about. And usually it's some sus, but he's like, oh, all right. So then it's, again, what do you think is going to happen at this point? Because a lot of people, I think, if you wrote this, you're going to write it that the Joker now is going to raise Bruce Wayne Batman to be his Joker sidekick.
Like evil
and
Joker.
An evil, like, now I won. Now I can get... But that's not what the Joker does.
The Joker wants to stay on script no matter what.
The idea, though, that is funny. Again, you can play the idea that does the Joker age the same way? Like, the idea that when Bruce Wayne Batman actually grows up to be Batman, Joker's going to be 90. He's going to, hey there, chase me there. But it's such a fun little play because then even if Batman is right, because he says, I need to raise him as a proper Batman. I need to make sure that I raise him exactly right so he becomes Batman. Now, in that, there's a lot of things you can start thinking about because what really makes Batman Batman is his parents dying. That's what really inspires him. What do you do at that point? Because at that point, the Joker is going to kind of be his parents. And is Bruce Wayne in there thinking, but he can't? Yeah, out because
is he trapped in the mind of
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, or is he just so de-aged that everything has to? Because Joker seems to think he has to play it out in the way to make the Batman, not just like twiddle your thumbs and by the time he's 9 he'll remember. So there's some things here that are really intriguing of how he's going to do this. Is he going to set up some fake deaths to make Bruce think this, or is it him? It's
the
very
concept
odd.
is pretty simple, but there's some layers. You can go
and then what happens if as Bruce gets raised by the Joker? Is the Joker going to pretend he's Alfred in the way, or is he going to? Will Bruce love his new father?
If the Bat family get involved, how do you explain this?
Yeah, it's so crazy. And what's going to happen in the meantime? This is where I think it could be funny because in the meantime, there's no Batman in Gotham, and you might have to have Joker decide at one point, I'm going to have to pretend to be Batman so that people don't know he's missing. He's the only one who knows that Batman's a baby. And then what do you do then as you go along? Does little Bruce Wayne then become a Robin later? And you twist it. It's really a cool concept of all in all what he's trying to do because he says, I have to. This is when he remembers what he was laughing about. And he's like, oh, yeah. I had to raise this Rugrat to be a good boy with a strong sense of justice. This ain't no joke. And he's like, and so I was really intrigued at this point. I thought this is a really neat setup for this side story, manga. But then you get the idea the Joker bought the wrong size diapers. And then I'm laughing.
Geez.
Like that's the classic manga raising the baby that you don't know what's going on. And that's like the extra level.
Large.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't think that a lot of writers, especially the ones at DC right now, would go with that. That all of a sudden he looks and he's like, oh, crap, what did I buy? And he's like, I bought extra large. Oh, nah, he's going to piss out the side of these things. And he's mad. And then it's the Joker. Like, again, the Joker hates anything that's structured or done in a way. But at this point, he almost has to go back in the rain to the drugstore, exchange the big diapers.
But he already ripped open the
ones. And I'm telling you, and a shout out to any new parents out there. I have 5 kids. Those diapers are a huge, huge expense. If you end up having kids, and especially a couple at the same time that we did in diapers, you got to watch yourself. You really have to cut corners and stuff like that, unless you're Rockefeller, which I was not. But they are expensive, and buying that wrong ones, there's nothing you can do with them then. I remember this happened at one point, and I thought to myself, like, if you end up buying, like, hey, go get me mint chocolate chip ice cream, and I show up with, Neapolitan. Oh, well, we'll still eat it, right? Or you end up getting something.
Who's going to wear the diapers?
There's so many other things that when you open it, you can't return open diapers. They're not going to, it's so crazy. And yeah, he loses his mind. He bought the biggest size. He didn't know because why would he? It's his elementary mistake. So that shows you, again, the big play. And he says, I opened one package already, so we're stuck with that. But what about the other 3? Do I go out in this rain again and take them back to the drugstore? What a pain. Also, just think of that, too. he already left the baby by himself, which he shouldn't have.
No.
But he's going to end up as he gets older and things like that. Like, the Joker has no idea what he's in for here. And I hope that he ends up, I would love to have, like, he gets Oswald Cobblepot to come over and babysit. Like, he doesn't tell him it's Batman, baby, but he's like, I need your help. The Penguin comes over.
Help for
stuff like that. Like, have a lot of things. So it really does say it's the one Operation Joker. But I'd love it as well where this is bound to make the Joker a little more family friendly. Like, he won't be able to help being Daddy Joker, and that might translate to him with the other villains as well. Like, they're like, let's go take this down. And like, all of a sudden he's like, well, that is near that preschool over there.
I thought I was raising you, Bruce. Turns out you were raising me.
And then you could end up that at the end, Batman is raised right. He ends up being full out Bruce Wayne Batman, but the Joker actually is good now because, you know, what is he going to do? He learned a lot of things himself, like you said. So it's a really cool start. And I think that if you were going to plan on reading the stuff, if you had the DC Infinite app and you were going to read it, definitely read this one first. Mm-hmm. I think this one is, as what I looked quickly, it's the shortest first chapter. So that lets you kind of ease into it. If you haven't read manga before, I guess people listening to this probably have, but I'm talking more if you haven't read manga and you go to do this. This one is a really good one because it doesn't need to explain anything about the Joker or Batman. You have to know that going in, which is fine for most people because the Joker and Batman are such iconic figures. You don't really have to give full out, but it really plays off like what you think would happen, and then it doesn't. But it's not so over the top crazy that it would throw you off. It's not one of those that you're going to be like, oh, this is why I don't read manga. It's a really good entry level thing for people really like good, DC Comics.
Like, and a really good feel for the characters. Like, the concept is so crazy, but even that scene when we have like that classic Batman Joker fight, the characters feel right, you know?
Yeah, and I'm actually even, because by now, obviously, we're used to reading this, so I'm going back to look. And when you do go, a lot of it, even at the easing in, it's just narration boxes. And it'll give you that idea. There's only a couple of pages, and you'll kind of get in tune with reading right to left without being confused. Because I think most people, when they say, I can't read it right to left, it's just because they don't want to be confused. They don't want to, seem like they're dummies. That's what happened with me. I end up like, but once you get into it, once you get with the flow, and they do it in a way that it's through narration boxes, which are very easy to follow at first. And really, there isn't a ton of dialogue, so it's very easy to follow, and it'll give you that, like I said, that entry deal of, okay, I get this. I know how to read it now, and you go for it. And I think that this could be something that would be, an entry level deal for some people and maybe open up some things. And if there are some people who haven't read any manga, again, I don't know, maybe I'll throw this out on some different things as well because of what this is. But if there are, and you wanted suggestions of some things to read, we will easily give you some things that will hook you immediately. Plenty. Chainsaw Man, that was mine. But even so many fun things, and manga can do so many things well. So with that, what would you give it?
Yeah, I thought it was rock solid. Like, it was a quick read. I don't know if you noticed as well, Jim, right at the start, it is a Kodansha joint, and lots of our favorites come from there. But
I saw it right on the cover, and I was going to mention it. I thought you were going to say something. I actually had it on mute, didn't I? I ended up saying that when I saw the Kodansha, I thought you were going to bring it up when you talked about the morning magazine, and you didn't, and then I forgot to mention that, I hate the Kodansha app.
They show,
they always yell at me. This
is legit. It's got the Kodansha, this is the real deal, which I do like as well. But I think there's something here that both sides will like. I think, if you're a comics person, you're going to like this, and if you're the manga persons, you're going to like this too. And if you like both, then it's just the best of both worlds, Jim. Oh my goodness. It's short, it's sweet, the premise is, goofy, but it leaves you wanting more. Like, by the end of this, like, I was laughing too. It went that extra step with the diapers, and I really did. I thought I had a good time. And the art's really good as well. I do want to point out that Like, especially if for those that might be hesitant, like it doesn't have the colors. You get plenty of detail here, and the art looks really good. Like that city at the start looks great. It's got all the right feels, all the right vibes. I'm liking this a lot. I'm going with a 8.8 out of 10.
I'm going 8.5. Now, at the end, I will tell everybody, like, if, again, I keep saying this, most of the people that are going to be listening to this already have read some manga. But if you hadn't, and you end up going into this, it's not going to blow your mind in this first chapter.
No.
This first chapter is very quick.
Very much the setup.
It has a couple bit of goofs there, and you get the setup. But this isn't. Please don't just read this one chapter and say, "Well, there's not much here," and then push it aside, because it's just here to get everybody into it and then go forward. And usually the mangas have a oversized first chapter. This actually is very, very quick, which surprised me. But I think it's so that people can just kind of get into it. You don't have to explain who the Joker and Batman are. So that gives you a little free, deal to go forward. And I think it's well done. Mm-hmm. And with that, I'm an 8.5. You're an 8.8. So I think people should check it out. And maybe we'll even do the Superman one at some point, maybe even next week. I don't know. We'll check it out. I haven't read that one yet. I just paged through it. Exactly. You're like the Batman baby. Always sleeping. Batman baby Luke. But that's that. That is it. Thanks, everybody. And if you would want to check us out and actually ask us some things or whatnot, you can go over to our Twitter at Weird Manga. Also, you can check out our Patreon, patreon.com/WeirdScienceManga, where we have, I think, 4 early access shows now. We had a ton at one point, but we have 4 right now, and we'll have some more coming up. So thanks, everybody, and we'll talk to you all later.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.